Common values, common goals, common sense. The Common Sense Podcast with Semi Bird.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 36. This is Common Sense with Semi Bird. Wow, what a primary election we had. I want everybody to know I cannot thank you enough ever for your kindness, your love, your support, and all your messages that you sent me today, and my wife and my daughters. I had two that are on the other side of the nation. One, I think she's still in Hawaii. But we appreciate you so much for all that you have done for this campaign. And, you know, numbers are still coming in. But the way the numbers are coming in, the trend that is coming in, it's looking like you have a number one and you have a number two. And we'll talk about that. We have streaming from the left. We're streaming on X. We're streaming on Instagram. We're streaming on YouTube, Facebook. And I may have left the platform off, but you guys know better than I do nowadays. It's been a heck of a journey, We already have questions piling up over here. I don't have any questions from ahead of time because this was a today thing. We had so many inquiries from the media today that I said, you know what? We serve the people. I serve the people. We'll do a podcast. And if I have something to say that I would say to the media, let me say it to the people. To the folks who have given so much, who tune in to our podcast, who contribute to our podcast through your questions, whether you support me or you don't, but participate from the grassroots level, not from the establishment elite media level, but from the grassroots, the people. And I'm going to continue to say that over and over and over again until we know it's starting to sink in. So let's go back to the beginning of how this campaign started. Now, I've been very upfront and honest. This has been a calling for me from the very beginning, a call to serve. And let me just say, in the interest of civility and human decency, when someone decides to run for an office, a public service position, we understand with a common sense perspective that it's a position of service. Now, we all have our different reasons. Apparently, there was someone who ran for governor because they wanted to get their likes or whatever up on their social media platform. Now, I think there's something psychological there, but hey, this is America. You can do whatever you want to. But why people run, and I think we had 30 people running for governor, do they not deserve a certain amount of, I guess, compassion, respect, or at least acknowledge the fact, like I just did, it may be different why a person decides to run, but this is America. We all have a right to run and a right to voice our positions and why we're doing it. And so I've been very clear. Mine was to serve. Mine was to bring solutions with actions addressing the issues of Washington state lawlessness, homelessness, drug epidemic, our economy, the fact that people can't afford to live in Washington state anymore, and bad laws that have been passed that need to be repealed, our constitutional rights violated. Now, out of all the candidates, if you are being honest, objective, and realistic, you'll know of the top four candidates, there's one candidate that always talks about the Constitution, that always talks about our constitutional rights, and talks about the essence of the American spirit, our moral compass that brings and creates the values that we call American values. I've talked about that as well as my solutions for Washington state. And we had a convention. The Washington State Republican Party had a convention. Let's address that momentarily. There was a purpose for that convention, and the purpose was we're going to get as many delegates to Spokane to that convention in order to choose one candidate for each state office, each national office, one candidate that we can rally behind that the Washington State Republican Party can put their full force of support behind that candidate, those candidates for each office. And so we're not dividing resources. That was the intent. And you know it happened. Or at least some of you do and some of you don't. And that is a reality that I've had to navigate through this entire campaign. Those who are involved and have a huge opinion, and those who are not involved and have a huge opinion. And then there are those who are not involved that have a huge opinion, but they're not involved. You get my point. So we went to the convention, and in the convention, you saw that the candidate committee tried to disqualify our candidacy based off of something from 30 years ago, over 30 years ago, in my background, a misdemeanor, in which it wasn't asked in a background investigation. Have you ever had a misdemeanor or a felony? It wasn't ever asked, but their criteria was 15 years. But they saw fit to try to disqualify me from something from 30-something years ago. And they thought that was okay, and they tried to do it. And they didn't do it alone. Let that be known. And what was the response of the other candidate, Dave Reichert, running for governor as a Republican? You all read it, and if you didn't read it, please just look it up and take a moment. The GOP leaders promised me that Semi Bird would be disqualified. They broke the rules. I do not want the endorsement of the Republican Party now, but that they ensured the people who stood up for our campaign and say, no, that's wrong, that's not right. We want Bird and Reichert back on that ballot so we can vote in person. All 1,800 plus, it was 1,839 delegates who participated and over 2,000 people who were there. We want both candidates on the ballot so that we can, with our paper ballots, make a vote. And we're going to watch while you count, and we'll wait. And they did. 72% supermajority. The reason I bring this to you is because prior to that convention, there was an opportunity for each candidate to sign a pledge that says, whoever won the convention, I will endorse that candidate, step aside, and endorse that candidate. The other gentleman said no, but instead immediately began to use vernacular such as Semi Bird as a con man, a snake oil salesman, and went on to, he's a crook, a thief. And you get this. I want you to remember these things. Some of you do and don't care, but some of you, I want to solidify what you're feeling right now. I myself, my wife Ann and Hannah, we're good. We really are. We're good. Why? Because when you serve something greater, and I wish everyone could understand this, when it's not about you, as this was not about me, it's not a hurtful thing that the numbers aren't going the way we want to because we gave all. We serve. When you do a kindness for someone, when you give something of yourself to other people with good intent, with righteous intent, when you give that to others, it is a gift. It is nothing to feel bad about if they don't say thank you or you don't get that reciprocation. Or if you're not rewarded for the gift that you give, you are giving it of your choice. And in my case, this was of my choice, but also as part of that calling. And I'm hoping I'm communicating this in such a way that it can resonate with everyone, because when it doesn't work out the way you want it to work out, specifically, it's nothing to feel sorrow about. The gift was already given to me when I gave the gift to all of you to offer to serve and to campaign 7 days a week, to put hundreds of or tens of thousands of miles on my car, my wife's, and our time and our effort, and maybe a little bit of money every now and then. But we did that because we wanted to and expect nothing back from that. That's what we're talking about. It's a difference. And people have said you're idealistic. You know, that doesn't make sense. Well, you know, I may not believe in the tooth fairy all in, you know, plug your ears, kids. But I have hopes for our state. And that was the other thing about our campaign, was that we did not campaign in fear and intimidation. We brought hope to people. And my friends, this is something that you must maintain and you should keep. And those of you who campaigned for us, with us, side by side, pushing me from behind, pulling me from in front, all of you, you are part of that gift. You are giving of yourselves too. Make no mistake about it, not just to me, because you did. Your gifts came to me personally, to my heart, to my family, and support. But you are also giving back to your neighbors, to your brothers and sisters, and to our sisters and brothers of Washington State. This is what we do when we, the people, rise up together and unite for a cause that we believe in. And we do it righteously, civilly, with human decency and respect. And we don't rip people down. And we don't do it to cause harm. We don't try to ruin people's lives because they decided they wanted to serve or give of their lives for a period of time to run for an office. You have a lot to be proud of. I know I am proud of you. And I can never thank you all enough. Some of you are sending me these messages and you're saying, Simi, thank you so much for what you have done for Washington State. No. Thank you. Yes, thank you. God bless you. No. This was my gift. I served in combat. I've served in peacetime. I've been a pleaser since I was a little boy. And many of you know this. I love people. I've said that from the beginning. Now that, we may move on in a different direction, we are going in a different direction. Same mission, by the way, and we'll talk about that. But I've always loved people, always. And many of you know this who are tuning in, who've known me since I was a child. That's me. I haven't changed in that. What I did in combat, that's different. That was that business. Me in my life here, I will always try to give and do better for others. That's just how I am. No strings attached. So be proud of what you did. Be proud of what you've accomplished. Let's talk about the mission. If you can see the end result was simply to get elected and get in the position, that was never it. And I said this. It's recorded. That's the beauty of doing podcasts. When people call names and vilify and say, he's a liar, he's a con man, he's a snake oil salesman, well, you'll be able to look this up because we have 35 other podcasts that we've done. And I'm sure it'll be said or written on our social media where I expressly stated that the overall mission is not about me, it's about we. It's to change the political environment in Washington State and such that we bring the change through how we conduct ourselves by communicating with people and waking people up. My friends, go to podcast number 1. Minute 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. You won't have to look too far. I'm going to help you out on this one. You'll hear this. Waking people up. So I ask you now, obviously rhetorically, as you're hearing my words and watching me on your screens, are you a little bit more awakened to what's happening within your political party, your county's political party, your leaders of your party, your politicians, your community leaders? Are you a little bit more awakened? Have you learned anything from this? I know I have. But have you learned anything from this? Because is that not the overall mission? Was not my overall mission? And yes, it was. And it's not done. So Common Sense with Semi Bird is going to continue. We're going to make this into a program. We're going to get sponsorship. We're going to grow this. And people are now, because I said that, oh no, he's going to try to make $1 million and whatever that is. It's because the mission goes on. We're not done here. Getting into office to serve, to make corrections to what was wrong and is wrong in Washington State was part of that. In order to make that happen, you have to wake people up. You have to share your message. You have to let people know what's going on and what you're going to do. But waking people up continues on. And one of the things we learned, eyes wide open, is that there are a lot of people who are not paying attention, that are not awake. There are a lot of people who are not engaged. And the people who are so opinionated and have so much vernacular to share and spew, are often incorrect in what they're stating. And we've learned that as well. So we're going to chat more. I'm going to go to questions here. There's a lot. Oh my goodness, you guys are here in force, and I appreciate you. So let's see what we have going on. Oh my goodness, my friends. And bear with me. Again, all feeds to little windows over here. Looking for question marks. Susie, my friend. This is my dear friend. Thank you guys for everything that you've done, you and Doug, or blessings. How do we fight against the very corrupt mainstream Republican pack of current former public servants who disrespected the choice of the elected delegates? That'll be probably in the next podcast. We may still do one on Thursday this week. We may not. We may wait until next week. I mean, I think I should give my family a break, and maybe I can take a little break too. I needed to do tonight for you. That I can say, because I couldn't leave you hanging. In the media, just salivating, you have no exclusive access to Semi Bird now, especially. But the people always do. And so, Susie, what I would say to that is simply, that's one of the things that people have woke up to. Power, money, control. The fact that you have a congresswoman call me to Spokane to ask me to step aside, lovely, kind, and brilliant as she is, we have been wanting Dave Reichert to be governor for a long time. Who is we? Sure as the heck isn't we the people. So on whose authority? Who is she representing? No ill will towards her. Again, nothing but good things to say in terms of her presence, her kindness. That is just true. And I don't know her personally enough. I would never say anything negative about her because she gave me nothing but positive things to say about her. But my point is, who in the heck gives anybody the authority to ask another person to step aside and to join the Reichert team? That is what I'm talking about. Susie, that's what you're talking about. And then all the money that goes into these elected officials, PAC money, big money donors, the donor class. You've heard me speak of that. You've heard other people, the 1% controls. I'm a capitalist and I'm an entrepreneur. I think that's part of America. Well, I shouldn't say I think. I know it is. It must be. That's what made us one of the greatest nations on the planet. I'm going to say that, the greatest nation on the planet. Things are going sideways. November is going to be important for us, for our nation. But that being said, when you have the powerful elite controlling elections, and I'm not speaking about this one, and nothing I will say is a pity party for Simi, because I don't play that nonsense. I say again, nonsense. I stand just as strong and together now as I have been at any other time in this campaign. But I said this throughout the campaign. The powerful elite. Let's go to episode 2 of this string that we're pulling on, Susie. One of the largest establishment mainstream groups, Restore Washington. The leaders of that organization have gone out of their way to ruin my life, attacking me and my family, bringing my children into the discussion. And that is okay with people to allow them, those big operational arm of that other campaign, and that is okay. And the letter said, the big money donors have chosen another candidate. Save your reputation. Do I give credit to them because they gave me an opportunity to save my reputation before they set forth to burn me and my family and my reputation down? A 63-year-old man who was raised in this state since he was a little boy. And for politics, because I got in your way, I dare to take a stand on behalf of the citizens of our state, the everyday average people. Not your wealthy, elite, big money people, your important we that was mentioned by that congresswoman, whoever we are, but the everyday people who have value and worth and cannot buy access to you or your people. You gave me that opportunity. Step aside. Show that you're a good team player for Republicans and run for lieutenant governor. That was play number 2. So I said no to that deal as well. I said no to the first deal. I said no to the second deal. Oh, then the third deal came in with 2 brokers. checks will be written. A few $100,000 before the convention, and then another payment after the convention. Byrd for lieutenant governor. Bring unity to the party. Get behind Dave Reichert now. Bring unity to the party, and the party will be grateful. The people will see that you did this for them, and then you will be governor on the next round. Assuredly, that is the pathway. That was that deal. And I said no. And then the uptick, all their hit men and women all over social media, PDC complaints. I'm just letting you know, you saw it all. And then the media, phase 3, bring in the media. First, the media throughout the entire campaign. Semi Byrd does not exist. There is no Semi Byrd. There's nothing to see here. Nothing. And then they kicked in. But they didn't kick in until after the convention, until after we won a 72% supermajority. And then they got very worried because even the deal that campaign tried to strike with the candidate committee of the Washington State Republican Party, even that deal went sideways because the people, the delegates, the largest delegation in the history of Washington State for either party, Democrat Party or Republican Party, everyday citizens who started out representing their precincts, neighborhoods within counties. A precinct is a group of neighborhoods within a county party. And those precincts elected delegates from the community. And then those delegates from the precincts went to the county convention. And then the Republican County Party elected those delegates to go to Spokane. That's where those 72% supermajority came from. That 1,800 and something people who made up that delegation, they came from the communities all over the state, and that was their voice. But how did the party respond afterwards? How did candidate Reichert respond afterwards? You've heard that. All these different phases. And Susie, to answer your question again, you've all seen this. This is not me saying anything, nor am I trying to bring forth complaints. Wake up, eyes open. That's what I've said. That's why we're talking about this. This is a review so that everybody understands there's work to be done. It's not, woe is me. This is just the beginning. Common sense with Semi Byrd is going to continue, as I said. And next week, when we fire up the podcast, we're going to go into details. We're going to talk specifically. Did they want me at that convention? Was there a move from higher to have me not even show up because they were going to play this little misdemeanor thing on me? Was there something there? I'm glad this is recorded. The answer is yes. Oh, there's more. There is more. Because behind every allegation from me, there's always proof for me. I don't play assumptions and innuendos and rumors, and I don't ruin people's lives. I bring truth. Truth is love, and love is truth. You know, it's funny. I heard that from a pastor in his congregation, a man that I just admired and respected so much, who chose to embrace another candidate, and other pastors who chose to embrace another candidate. And it makes you wonder, when you have a candidate that is asked by the Seattle Times editorial board their position on stockpiling abortion pills using taxpayer dollars and making Washington a sanctuary state for abortion, does that align with your faith, pastors? Is that what makes them your pick? Something to think about. Maybe my biblical worldview is a little different. I don't know. So for all of you out there, what am I talking about? I walk in the light. I serve. I'm a man of faith, as everyone knows, because that was the other thing they said. You cannot talk about your religion. You can't. Oh, yes, I can. It's America. And at the same time I talk about my religion, I profess my love and respect for other people who have other religions. This is America. They're afraid of that. And then they brought diversity, equity, and inclusion. And they lied. Semi Byrd taught DEI. Never has happened. I taught the opposite. But a black man teaching diversity and inclusion in a country that's based on diversity and inclusion. And you want to break down barriers where? Exactly. Conservative, Republican parties. Where? What coalitions are you building in King County, Republican Party? when you're not standing up. Yeah, we made history, by the way, in Spokane. Did you hear it from the media? Was that all over the media? That we made history that day? Was it all over the party's social media page? Did you see the Washington State Republican Party go on full blast? The number one chief executive officer position in Washington State was that full blast. You just couldn't get enough because they were so far and on board behind their endorsed candidate. Did you get enough? Were you feeling that support? And then the investigation, because of the accusation, that other phase of stolen valor. We're ruining a man's reputation in terms of everything else, digging and bringing, and then you start piling and you mix in lies and allegations and innuendos, half-truths, and then you go and attack another next of low. I mean, we used to respect veterans, and then you go after his military service. 21 years. 21 years. My wife, who had sent her husband overseas, does that not mean anything? Was I going to a resort and we were lying to her that no, I was never going into danger? All that was made up? Is this okay with anybody out there? I'm just asking. These are the things they did. And I ask you, is this not election interference? When you have, as Susie asks, big money, big names, big donors, the media, non-stop, Bob Dave, Bob Dave, Bob Dave. And then you bring out these polls, which anybody who knows anything about research methodology knows, depending on your sample group and how you sample and who you sample, controls those polls. And then those polls go out into the media and they use that. And then when you refer to the candidates, and you have 4 candidates, one of them looks a little bit different than the other 3, and then you single that one out and go, stolen valor. KXLY. How proud are you before the election? This is what we saw. This is what we woke up to. I'm not bitter about it. You should be disgusted by it. But that's not enough. Take action. What are you going to do? It's time to stay united to our mission and our movement. We don't have to call names. We talk about truth, and we're going to stay on that pathway of truth. Now, I am so far behind, and I'm going to catch up a little bit because I thought this was going to be quick, but you put me in front of a mic and get my mouth going, it's forever. We have Carol. Let's see here. Simi. I think there are a lot of irregularities, and I sure hope Washington State Republican Party leaders will look into this. Do you know anything about this, Carol? I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. If it was someone else, maybe they would, not me. The Washington State Republican Party will not look into anything regarding me. No. Am I speaking from fact? Absolutely not. I have no idea. I can't see into their hearts or anything else. But here's what I do know. After the accusations of stolen valor, the chairman of the party was giving a stack of documents showed by my campaign team verifying everything that I was accused of, that they were looking into. I gave them answers to every single thing. And then when he wrote his letter, because he wrote that letter, and then he released a stolen document, which was a violation of my 1973 Privacy Act rights, and there's going to be accountability for that. Guarantee you that. On behalf of the Washington State Republican Party. So you release a stolen document that takes away or inhibits or violates a person's federal constitutional, lawful rights of privacy. And you think they're going to do anything to look into an election to where I may not have benefited from it. Oh, absolutely not. And by the way, on your letter, it's Bronze Star Valor. And it's not meeting the standards, Mr. Chairman. I was in a firefight in Baghdad on the streets, almost died. That is meeting the standards. And the Purple Heart is not meeting the standards. I wasn't put in for that. The medical facility that treated me, that happens on its own. undermine, talk down to, angle all you want, the truth comes out. So there's the answer to that. I appreciate you asking that, Carol, and I hope I answered it. Let's see what we have going on, you guys. And so, I see someone says, 600 and something thousand votes missing. Again, I'm not going to get into that because really this podcast, to say thank you and to keep you guys in the game. Do not get disheartened. I have someone who sent me the most beautiful message, and then they said, I'm leaving the state. The most beautiful message. And this person is a beautiful person. One of the most patriotic people I know. And I'm going to leave it there because I'll spoil the goods. But a great patriot, a great person, and someone you do not want leaving the state. But this is happening, unfortunately. And I'm sure that person will continue to fight from without because there's I had other messages come in. I was coming back to Washington. I'm not coming back. I mean, it's just, but I'm not going on the election stuff. I'm going to let you guys sort that out. And that's not my gig. My gig is bringing truth. And if I get facts, I'll give it to you guys. Guarantee it. All right. I'm trying to catch up. Bear with me, you guys. I really appreciate you. I'm looking for question marks because if you don't use them, I won't see them. There's so many. And thank you, everyone. I can never say how awesome. And Scott, thank you in Spokane. And all of you, Bill, brother, prayers to you always from the very beginning. Both Bills. I see one William, one Bill, and I know both of them, and they're dear to me. So many people. So that's the other thing. Everywhere I went. Last night we had over 200 people packed in a watch party, and amazing. I mean, the love. My family was there. The Birds were there. My sister, my big sister. My other family. The rest of them are still in Oakland, California, or in California. I have my niece here and her beautiful family. She's beautiful. My sister's daughter. But I had my big sister, who I just love the heck out of, and God gave her, I want to say back to me. We didn't always get along as children, but I mean, every time I think of her and I look at her, I start crying, and she always says, "Don't cry." So I do that with all of my siblings. I'm the baby. You can tell I'm a big baby. I'm the baby of the family. But all my siblings are grown. My sister's the closest to me. My other brothers and sisters, I lost my one brother, James, and God bless him. He's so cool. Worked for the city of Seattle in the public waste department. So cool. Everybody loved Jimmy. We called him Jimmy. Everybody called him James because he was so cool like that. And then Michael, Larry, David. I love my family. My sister Edith, my angel, who passed. Yeah, I have my family. My two nephews who are amazing, and my grandniece. So it was a beautiful night and so much love that I get. So you guys, I have been given so much from all of you. I can never repay. So no remorse, all good, all positive. Feel it. And my dear Leslie, God bless you, and Ryan, who flew in for that last night. I just love the heck out of you guys. And so, no, you guys, we're pushing forward. So I'm looking for questions, you guys. And, we're spitballing this thing as we always do. And I'm not really reading your statements, guys, because I can't. It's just so much. But I can only look for questions. And I've got to say, there's a person who has a social media presence. And I got to meet him last night. And he knows who he is. And I adore the heck out of that man. His bravery, his courage. I looked him in the eye and we talked. And a beautiful man. And I just had to say thank him. So we're all fighting in our own way, you guys. Even if you put up some signs or you wear a shirt or you're on a bridge, you matter. We matter. Together, that's where it is. And I don't know what the numbers are looking like. I think we're at 9.45 the last time I checked before coming downstairs. I think Dave's at 28, Bob's at 45, Mark's at 5-something. For us, we didn't have the millions of dollars because we weren't bankrolled, right? We didn't have that, as they say, name brand recognition. And we didn't have the media. Think about this, you guys. Please understand the power of the media. When they are out there, Bob, Dave. And when they mention Semi, pretty much a, despicable, lowlife, stolen valor, criminal, castaway, nothing. I mean, did you see that? I have a title. I was a federal director. I mean, I was a Special Forces Green Beret. I mean, I was an advisor to an ambassador. I mean, I have other titles they could have used. But look at the references. I don't miss this stuff. That's when you work in intelligence field, you learn these things. Nothing's by accident. The media has power and control, and who pays their checks? Think of that. Please think of that. Money, power, media. And then when you have a party establishment behind you, oh no, we just work harder. That's how we do. We work harder. We don't become victims. We don't blame. We reveal. We bring truth. And we drive on. And we build unity. And then we keep going and going and going. Now, I'm not a politician. Never wanted to be. Never planned on being. Someone says, what are you doing in 2028? Not politics. Just like this was, again, calling from higher to serve something bigger. And we're still doing it, by the way. Don't forget that. The bigger mission, we drive on. John, good seeing you, brother, from Snohomish. You are a man. So many of you guys, I cannot. And all these political organizations of Washington State, everyone, look at these organizations. Who did they endorse? Who did they support? And then ask yourself why. Ask yourself. Every single one of them. And if they didn't, ask yourself why. Ask yourself. This is the election of our lifetime. So now you have Bob Ferguson and Dave Reichert. The way it's looking right now, again, we don't know what we don't know. Where were they? Did they show? Were they there? And again, back to the pastors. Pastors, are you going to say, well, Semi Bird, his military thing, or Semi Bird, his misdemeanor? Do I need to teach you scripture on redemption and the blood of the Lamb? Do I need to go down that? I mean, come on now. I'd like to know. I'd like to have a discussion. So yes, give me a ring, send me a text message. I'll come on your podcast or I'll come into your church and let's have a discussion openly on what values are you representing? What are you endorsing? I'd like to know. Because, I want to make sure I'm not missing something in terms of scripture and faith. So we're going to keep driving forward. I'm looking. And Tracy, my angel, Island County, you're amazing. We are not going to give up. We're not going anywhere. Why would Bird back corruption such as Reichert? Someone said. So here's what I would say. And that is the $1 million question. Probably the media is just dying to hear from me. I'm going to get through a few more questions, and we're going to knock that one out before we leave. We got a few more. We got minutes left. Oh, don't worry. I'm not going anywhere, you guys. I got you. And I'm not going anywhere. So Tracy's saying 20% voted. We have things happening. And thank you. Outrage is in the house. You know what? I had another person say I'm a lion, and I'm just that kid, right? However we serve. And I have not hidden who I serve. I don't. I won't. I don't. So be true to yourself and don't align. Remember I said people over party? People over party, constitution over the establishment. Constitution is the foundation of law. It is. Nothing will change. Nothing will change. Listen what we got going on here, guys. I'm just driving through looking for questions. We're going to get caught up. Okay, Bird was all over Puget Sound for the past year, right? We're reviewing. So Brent is saying this to someone else. Here's a question. Are you open to investigating what went on? The results are not accurate. I have been observing King County elections the last 2 weeks and seen some other things. Transformations. Thank you. Thank you. So I'm open to facts and truth. So facts and truth, and I'm not making allegations because I don't make allegations unless I know a thing. And so if I know a thing, then yes, 100%. however the direction goes, let's just say hypothetically, all of a sudden 10 bazillion ballots dropped and I'm, on course A heading to November, which, by the way, we would have been the candidate who could win, by the way. And the fact that folks can't see that, that's unfortunate. Again, we still have some waking up to do. Or we go to course B because there's not enough ballots that are for us. Either way, the mission is still the mission. We're still on course to wake people up and to be active in Washington State. And one of the things I'm going to say again that I've said in every podcast, I do not support attacking people. I will never character assassinate another person. Bob Ferguson, Jay Inslee, Dave Reichert, any Democrat. I won't. I don't. Any Republican, I won't. Any person, it's not my style. It's just not. And so I ask you, try to refrain and try to bring facts, because that is the most compelling argument, is where you have facts. And yes, Tracy, some very disturbing behavior out of that organization. And they're going to be held accountable. So I mentioned very straight up is, can you release a document that was stolen that violates a person's right to privacy, which is a federal violation and a violation of law? Is there a liability there? I say there is. And we'll find out in a week or two after a few meetings. And so that, and how much protection does the press give a certain individual or a couple individuals? It's not, again, understand, I'm good. I'm my wife, my family, they are my center of happiness. I need nothing in the world. Nothing. Not a darn thing. I don't need money. I don't need anything. So never did. Never did. Got called to this, answered the call, rolled out, moved swiftly, drink water, hydrate, drive on. It's a little military stuff in there. But I have my wife and my children. My 3 beautiful daughters. They're happy. And I have my the rest of my family, my nieces, my nephews. No, I'm good. I am very good. Oh, and we had some good pastors supporting us. Oh, don't get me going on Pastor Heath, right? Pastor Jeff. And it's not because they supported me. I'd like to understand why, because the values of our faith, if they don't matter, I just need an explanation on that. That's all. The whole girls and the boys locker rooms, the whole sex change things that, decisions. Are you saying he made a mistake, that he didn't? That's all I'm asking for. So, because the whole hypocrite thing, I'm not playing that. And no one should be too big. And that goes to anybody, no matter what your organization is. Let's see here. Could you tell me what he instead chose to focus on? So there's, you guys are asking questions in between each other. I'm going to see if I can find something. And boy, I'm not even scratching the surface. Just when I think I get to a question, my list continues. I'm not sure how many people we have on this feed, but we have a lot of folks here, folks. So thanks, you guys. I mean, just a lot. Joy, good to see you, my sister. And let's see what else we have. And yeah, I saw a word. People called our supporters, or the supporters of the Bird campaign, a cult. And I find that fascinating. I find it very fascinating because why exactly? We talked about Constitution. We talked about putting people over party. We've talked about the beauty of America, the fact that all races, black, white, Asian, Hispanic, right, African, all races, all creeds, all colors, all religions, Muslim, Sikh, Jew, Christian, all religions, Hindi, all religions are loved by me. But more importantly, America, out of the many one, e pluribus unum. That's what I talked about over and over and over again. What is cultish about that? But when you said I taught diversity and inclusion, like I said, this is the nation that's based off of what I just said, diversity and inclusion. You cannot value black people and brown people in your words and not include them in the discussion. You cannot say that you support the Jewish people, but yet you do not include them or bring compassion. in your discussion. I can go on and on. The same thing with Islam and the Muslim people. You cannot broad brush a whole group of individuals because of what a few individuals do. Are we not brave enough to have that common sense understanding? Because one police officer does one thing, it does not make a whole profession bad. We're smarter than that. So let's act smarter than that. Again, we bring awareness. So as we move forward with our mission to wake people up, we are going to call out. We're going to be active. We're going to be talking. Oh, yes. We're going to be going out in the streets. Oh, we're just getting warmed up. So Common Sense with Semi Bird will be going out in the streets. We're going to be doing international interviews. I'll be interviewing people from different countries, right? I may be traveling to different countries, but we're going to be talking to people from throughout the state. We have candidates that we need to get elected before November. Candidates that we need to get elected. Good candidates that we need to get elected before November. You know, the 3rd Congressional District and many others. We have good candidates that we need to get elected. Right? Sean Murphy over there in Kitsap. And I can say many more. I mean, gosh, I haven't had a chance to catch up to see how Dale and Sue and Matthew are doing. Good candidates. Oh, we have so many people that we need to get elected. But we're going to be going out in the streets. We're going to be talking about the homelessness encampments. We're going to have a team going out. So this is going to become a program. We're going to bring truth. And I'm going to have a couple other things to say. I'm just trying to get through questions, guys, but I'm not going to keep taking heat on this. I do that a lot. Again, that's that whole being a pleaser thing. You take it on yourself. But I just never am not getting down to the bottom of the list. So sorry, you guys. All right, I'm looking for questions. Come on now. And guys, be nice in there. Why did WSRP not promote the candidates? I figured they would have done a push for the slate after the convention. Well, George, you know, they put up a couple posts. I saw one or two. The convention was in April. I saw 2 or 3. You go back and you look and count them. And if you feel comfortable with what they did and backing the candidates, again, I would have thought that governor would have been a big deal. You know, lieutenant governor, we didn't have anybody. Then people are jockeying around. Well, I'm going to run for this, but now I'm going to run for that. Well, I didn't get this, so now I'm going to run for that. Some people just love politics, I guess, not me. So why would we not? If we got a slate, back the slate, and then go power in. That's what we do. That's what we do. So we'll see. We'll see. Let's see here. Again, I'm looking for questions. I'm trying to squeeze down. Let me see. Snowco or somewhere else. Me, Andrew also. Okay, I'm not seeing anything. Oh, you guys are talking amongst yourself and ask these other questions. That's good. Okay. Peeps are talking about write you in for the general election thoughts. Here's what I will say about the general elections and write-ins. You do you. I did that twice. I did once for lieutenant governor for my former commander once, and then once for the national election once. And so that's the thing. Your vote is your vote, period. I'm a vessel in this. I'm a messenger in this. And so I will always share my thoughts. I will always share my feelings. It doesn't make me the alpha and the omega of anything, really. I'm you. I mean, I'm just a brother, right? And trying to bring truth. And I will speak honestly with you. I mean, if you know, when you have a program like this, you listen to the person and then you discern, is this a person who I want to hear that has something of value to say? And that's what I will try to do. But I won't compromise what I say. So I won't say things for the sake of bias towards one thing or another. If it's a fact, it's a fact. If it's my opinion, I'll tell you. In my opinion, I want you to vote what you think is right. This is important to people. I ask you, I implore you, consider this. How far do we compromise? How far do we settle? How far do we give in? So people will say, and they have been saying this from the very beginning, is it me or has a certain group of individuals, not my campaign, because I've never mentioned it. And that should strike you a little odd too. But the other campaign, always Dave Reichert and that group, like it's the coming of the Antichrist or something. It's like almost like climate change. Oh, no, we can't. Anything but anything. I would sell my grandmother just to get a Republican in office. Selling your grandmother's not a good thing to do. That's not good. Don't do it. I'm being silly right now, but you get my point. What are you willing to give up? And what does the Republican Party stand for? What are your values? And that's what I was trying to ask those pastors. I mean, the same thing. If you would compromise what Scripture is and endorse or snuggle up to and support, what do you stand on? And I ask the same thing to all of you. I know me. I've never had anything. And I said this from the very beginning. Even when the man started calling me names, I never called him a name back. Not once did you ever hear me call names, character assassinate, dirt drag, mudsling. Leaders unite. They don't divide. And now some of you are going, well, then now you need to unite and get behind. Think about that. Where are your values that you would sell them so cheap? For a party? That's the problem. We've been played for fools for too long. Is it really about party? I had someone write into me today, a really neat man. I mean, I wasn't sure whether he was a Democrat or an independent, but what I really love about him, and I've mentioned that on my podcast, he brings a diverse opinion, meaning, diversity, don't be afraid, mainstreamers. Perspectives. And he would push back on things that I would say. He would hold me accountable. And I think, we became, kind of Facebook friends. I respect the man. I don't even know the man. Never seen him. Maybe we'll never meet him. But I respect him and like him. And he pointed out something. And again, just for clarity, a person who will call me out. Know that. And he said, observations. You have 3 top candidates. 2 were engaging, calling each other names and attacking one another, and 1 that focused on issues and solutions. And then it seems as though the people were captivated by the drama of the attacks on one another that were perpetuated and filtered en masse to the people. Are you guys tracking with the genius, the brilliance of what this man said to me in the message? And that's exactly what it was. And how many people said, well, Bob Ferguson is not talking about Simi Bird because Simi Bird's not even a threat. Simi, why are you not talking about Bob Ferguson? Why would I talk about Bob Ferguson before a primary when my job is to talk to the people, apply for the job, interview, let them know what I'm going to do, let them know what my solutions are, attacking back and forth like Dave and Bob does. But this gentleman said, that's what people seem to be buying up. Well, my answer to that is, thank you for the red question marks, Haley. I see that. I'm going to answer that. Oh my goodness. I got to make sure I don't lose that. So that is something for us to look at. I thought that was brilliant. Oh my goodness. I got to make sure. Where did the heck did I lose Haley's questions? So they were there on my screen. They disappeared. Haley, I'm going to find them. I'm not sure if they're on the bottom. Oh my goodness, you guys. Bear with me. There they are, Haley. Okay. Simi, what would you suggest ask us, we the people, to do to strengthen the GOP, such as becoming a PCO, run for office, important. So precinct committee officers, so 100%. Republicans of Washington State, here's my message to you, as I have a few more minutes left, and I'll go over because I've got to talk about endorsements and such. There are some parties in Washington State, and I will be going into depth starting next week, and we're going to discuss these county parties that don't reflect the platform of what Republicans say they are. So that's why I asked someone earlier. I said, what is the Republican Party? The party of mudslinging? What about the party where you're supposed to... So become a precinct committee officer. You have a voice. The chair of that party, and I know, is supposed to serve the precinct committee officers. And if you don't know what a PCO is, it's a representative, a party representative of a group of neighborhoods within your county. And you can find out more by going onto your county Republican Party website. I encourage you to volunteer and or run for a PCO position. It can be an appointed position, but if there's a vacancy, and there are a lot of vacancies in Washington State and different counties all over the state, you can apply, and that county chairman or chairwoman can appoint you to that position, and then you have a voice to help shape your party. So Republicans of Washington State, you have a choice. Are you going to be liberal Republicans so that you cannot tell the difference between a Republican and a Democrat? And I'm not calling Democrats names. I never have, and I never will. But at some point in time, aka the Uniparty, what is the difference? Now, if you want to get rid of both the parties, I'm all in. Sign me up. Get rid of all parties of Washington State. No more division on that. And then let's start breaking down all the other divisions. No more racial division. No more divisions on what gender is what. No more division. Unite. I'm all for it. Sign me up. Where do I sign? Because all we're doing is dividing. We can't even identify who we are anymore. So what is? I know I'm a Reconstruction Republican. I'm civil rights, women's rights. I mean, right? We're the party that ended slavery. How in the heck did we become the party of racists? Where were those party leaders? And just 2 days ago in a Seattle article, one of the previous WSRP chairs is supporting Kamala and Walz for national office, for president, vice president. Says they're the best for this and the best for that. And I'm going, whoa, has nothing to do with party, but those two candidates are not and no, absolutely not. But that person was the chairman of the party. So if you don't get involved, I don't know what to say. What the heck? That's what I'm saying. So that's why our show will call it out for what it is. We're not playing that game anymore. We'll bring the truth, and I'll let you know what's going on with that. Gosh, you guys. So a lot to say. Let me see here. I see another one. Okay, nope, not a question for me. I'm just going to look here. See another. Other. Thank you, Colette. You said you will support the truth. Yes. Do you think we can get the truth if you call for your voters to affirm their votes for you on Crosscheck USA? Colette, a good question. I need to check it out. I just got a message, I think today, regarding this. We just drove home today. So I have to check it out. I see numbers. Someone said 600,000 votes went missing. I don't know anything, you guys. And it's not because I'm lacking. You know that. I got a couple of brain cells. We woke up, we got on the road. We've been working hard, my family and I, my wife and I specifically. But no, I just need to breathe and figure it out. I personally got on my phone and looked up the last results before hitting the button to start the podcast. I did that myself. So, yeah, I got a lot to look at. So, Colette, I would encourage anyone to utilize any source that they can to find the truth. And certainly, Crosscheck USA is a good source to look at. I mean, consider all sources. Get the truth, and I will report back on all the above. I'm not done. Let's see here. What are you going to do about the putting all the body cameras on police? You know, again, it's Cherith, and I like that name. So that is policy. And body cameras, you know, I would talk to the police officers, but I don't think they have a problem with it at all. But I would talk to the police officers. I mean, this is something, we have amazing law enforcement officials. We don't have enough of them, and we're going to get into policy next podcast. So I'll still stay in policy, but we have a lot to get through and a lot to sort through. Dawn, warrior sister, thank you for being here. Let's see here. I'm looking. Yeah, Dawn said Dave voted for sex changes. The military voted for men and women's bathrooms. Pharma, yeah, he was a lobbyist for the pharmaceutical company. That was the whole South America thing. Rapid DNA, some of the most invasive surveillance. But again, voters don't know these things. Hence why common sense brings truth. So now we can focus on these things. And it's not attacking a person. You want to be vice president of a corporation, a pharmaceutical corporation, and get paid big money to push for DNA tracking. Hey, capitalism, roll on, make your money. But does it matter to people who understand that this is one of the most invasive surveillance technologies that can be used? Well, does it matter? I don't know. There's an article out on it 48 hours ago. Look it up. I mean, do your own research on this stuff, right? What's the going rate for grandmother these days? Josh, my brother, God bless you, and Mike, you both amazing. So many. I got to stop going down the name aisle because there's so many people that I just can never repay your kindness. Gabrielle, good seeing you, my sister. Oh, Gabby. Simi, what we do about the daunting debt agendas being pushed in our oh gosh, LGBTQ. I'm sorry, it was in lowercase. Didn't stand out. Yeah, you have show. You know, I do, and that's why I pulled my children out of public schools. Does this affect you? It all does. Oh, it does. So never fold. That's why I ran. So you just heard a moment ago. You have other candidates. Now you have the top two candidates that are all about that. All of them, both of them. And you know that. It's go to X, go to past voting records, look it up. What am I going to do? So far, according to the numbers, I haven't looked at my phone yet because I'm doing this right now. As the numbers are coming in, it looks like two other candidates are going to advance to the general election. And both of them, yeah, it's a problem. They supported this. And all, again, pastors, you Republicans, all of you, right? Don't, next week we talk about the counties and those county leaders who are tied deeply to that establishment money. That comes next week. Tune in. It's going to be juicy. Bring your popcorn because guess what, my friends? It's off the hook now. It is off the hook now. It is off the hook. So again, you can still have your hitmen come after us. We're going to make sure we are dialed in with all the legal stuff, and you can keep. What, are you going to ruin me again? Right? What are you going to ruin me again? Oh, no fear. I do not fear man. So I'm just getting warmed up. Always will I keep it clean? Yes. No mudslinging, but truth is truth. And we're going to point out, I want people to see the truth. Is this a person you want representing you? Is this the person? Is this what the party stands for? Democrat Party, Republican Party? No. I say we've been getting played from both sides. I've said that from the very beginning. Here's one. So if you concede, not happening, then peeps won't do a write-in. D. Brian, are you going to remain open to the write-in then? So let me help you out with this, D. Brian. Here's the difference between folks like you and folks like me. This is called America. And you can get on social media. You can puff up, and you can keyboard cowboy and ranger up and special forces all the way behind a keyboard. But some of us are warriors. Some of us do have courage, and some of us are patriots who understand the Constitution, the supreme law of this land. And that says we have a right to vote how we choose. We have a right to ensure that our elections are secure. We have a right to our privacy. And so no one tells us whether we write in or we don't write in. And so for your clarity and understanding, I have 3 languages under my belt. English is one of my better ones. So I'm saying once again, for everyone, you do you, and I'll do me. You want to write in, you write in. You don't want to write in, you don't. You do what you want to do. This is America. Big boys, big girl rules are on display. And let's talk about endorsement. Think about the process of endorsing a candidate. Someone comes to another candidate or comes to a politician or comes to an organization. There's always a process. You approach them and you're asking them for their endorsement. Here's question number 1. Would the same man that would call me a con man, a snake oil salesman, a crook, and a thief even want my endorsement? People, have you asked your guy? Have you asked them that? Why would he want to associate with someone like me? That from the very beginning, non-viable, he and his ilk, the elite establishment of this state, deemed me to be persona non grata, bottom of the barrel, and then a crook and a con man and a thief to begin, to boot. Do they even want my endorsement? So there's point number 1. Point number 2, setting aside all the attacks against my character, trying to ruin my life, attacking my family, bringing my children into this mix. when I never said an ill word about anyone. Putting that aside, because this is not about me personally. This has always been about the mission. And I know from experience, you don't make it personal. It goes to character. What is the character of a candidate? What is the character of a leader? Throughout this campaign, I've called for peace, civility, and humanity. Throughout this, every podcast, they're recorded. That's the beauty. I've done this. I do very in-depth questioning with people. I answer questions with people. So that's the other difference. I make myself available to people that I hope to serve. That's the sign of a people's candidate. I was always for a debate, to be open, to share our platforms and our positions. You political professionals will say, that's why we win, because we were smart enough not to get on stage with you. Okay. Well then, so now the citizens of Washington State have to make their decision. But here's what I say. Just like that gentleman who wrote that observation in about the mindset of people that we have been programmed. Well, now that the numbers don't look good for one candidate, that candidate should get behind the other candidate. Even if that candidate's character, morals, ideology, and everything else do not align, get behind. Show that you're a good team player for Republicans. Does that sound familiar? Does that sound familiar, everyone? Rewind this podcast. Talking about Restore Washington, that group, that mainstream group of liberal Republicans who set out to burn me down and my family with it. I'm not a team player for immoral, indecent behavior, ever. So when I endorse someone, I endorse a person of character. I endorse a person because they have policies and platform positions that I can respect and I can align with. So you'll know when Semi Bird endorses someone. And very soon you will know who I will be endorsing. Very soon. I will make it very public and very clear. So even the non-engaged can understand my English. So we're going to wrap it up. Guys, let's end with staying strong, remaining hopeful. We drive on. We drive on because the mission continues. But as this gentleman said to me, there's a mindset that must be broken. Why would you be so selfish that you could not see the overall mission, not knowing that if you try to, how should I say, unprofessionally attack, ruin, slander, etc., how you think that was a recipe for success should things work out. Bad strategy. And I tell anybody and everybody paying attention, it's only going to be more of that to come. So choose wisely, but you'll know who I endorse and who I support. I won't mix words on that. Stay strong. Stay in the game. We're moving forward. There's hope. There's hope as long as we are not bought out, as long as we don't compromise, as long as we don't sell out and forget what we stand for, forget that we have values. It must mean something. It does to me. God bless you guys. I appreciate you guys and my family, and I are eternally thankful and grateful for all that you've done for us and for this state. So we're not going anywhere until next week, my friends. I'll see you. Episode 37, Common Sense with Semi Bird.